welcome back to the Savage Nation. This is Jeff Kuhner from the Washington Times, sitting in for Michael Savage. Members of the Savage Nation, we have a very special caller on line one. Boys, let's introduce our treat to the Savage audience.
Well, Jeff, I'm calling because what you just did for me has not been done by anyone to date, including my very expensive legal team in England and in the U.S. You were Clarence Darrow to the defense, Jeff. I tell you, I normally try not to pay much attention to what people say about me, but I listened to the impassioned element of what you were saying and how you said it, and I know you from what you write and what you believe in. This message, forget about me, about the Muslims in England, how many of them are deadbeats on welfare, how many of them believe in violence and killing. How in the world could they not see what's going on under their own noses, Jeff?
Michael, that's the question that, frankly, I've been asking myself now really since September 11. And, I can't tell you what a thrill it is to have you on the air and to be actually talking to you person to person.
Well, I'm recovering from a pretty bad back, thing. Who knows, I never had one all my whole life. I've been very lucky, but things happen, everything comes to an end, and everything changes in a person's life at a moment's notice. That's what we've heard all our lives, and we don't think it's going to happen to us. But anyway, here I am, and I'm listening to you, and I'm saying, where was this guy, why can't the lawyers present it? Why hasn't Hillary Clinton presented this argument? Why hasn't one conservative senator gotten up on the floor and said one damn word about this situation and how I'm the only member of the American media who's been banned? Where are the great Jim DeMints and all the other so-called conservatives? Not one of them has ever said a word about this on the House floor or the Senate floor.
Michael, let me ask you this, my friend. Has the pressure, look, you're banned. Obviously, they've put you on a high target list. They put you with some very unsavory, murderous...
Finish the sentence, okay, because we know what you're saying, we know where you're going. Let's put it to you this way. They changed my life for the worse. They turned me into a criminal for speaking what most Americans know to be true. Anyone with a brain knows I'm right. In fact, most people in Britain know I'm right.
Michael.
Has it affected me? Yes. The burden has become almost too much for me to carry. And, people say psychosomatic illness. Back pain is typically psychosomatic and blah, blah, blah. Well, it's good enough to know it's psychosomatic. It doesn't mean it ends because you know that. So, in other words, at a certain point, the burden becomes too heavy. This burden, coupled with the care fight...
Why do you think, Michael, why do you think so many conservatives in the mainstream media, at Fox News, on talk radio, you mentioned Jim DeMint, people in the Tea Party movement, people that you've championed or you've championed their causes, why haven't they rallied to you?
Well, let's start with the obvious. People in the radio, such as the golfer and the wall banger, as I believe, are simply con men who have used the conservative movement to get ahead. And their Republican fronts, the Republican Party, wants a man like me nullified because, in fact, I've been sort of the independent leader for years in radio. Long before there was a Tea Party, in essence, I was rallying the independents in this country to understand both parties were screwing them and not representing them. So naturally, both parties hated me, including George Bush's little old Republican group of fake conservatives, little C conservatives, and they're reinventing George Bush right now. I don't know where you stand on it. I'm shocked by what they're doing.
Well, yeah, they're presenting him now as some small government conservative. Karl Rove is running around saying...
I don't understand that people call up the show and get angry at me for not saluting George Bush, the man who gave us the largest government in history, the man who tried to seduce us with the Dubai port deal, which would have devastated our security. I should be given a Nobel Prize for what I did for this country by preventing the folks from Dubai from taking over our port security. But I don't need a prize, Jeff. All I wanted to do was say thank you very much for being on the show and championing the cause and doing it in such a brilliant manner. Really, that's the point of the call, not to take over your show.
Michael, my friend, this is the highest compliment anyone has ever given to me, and I want you to know you're a hero of mine, and I know you're a hero to many conservatives. You're a hero to many Americans. And, Michael, I know this for a fact because I go to Britain. You are a hero to many people in Britain.
Well,
believe me, they want you in Britain. They'd love to hear your show in Britain.
The lie is so great, Jeff. The propaganda is so complete from the Associated Press and the other vermin of the left that most Americans have now been hoodwinked into believing that I've been removed from the list. You go on the internet, they say he was once banned, but he overturned it. No, I haven't overturned it. I'm still on the list with murderers and terrorists. I'm still not able to enter Britain, while some of those who would kill them and cut their throats and blow up the Parliament itself are revered as citizens of the British Empire.
Michael, have your lawyers contacted David Cameron's government? I mean, they are supposedly a conservative government. Have they?
Did right off the bat. And you know what they got back? They got more of an insult than they got from the Brown government. The Cameron government turned out to be more of a fake than the other government. There's no conservative element in England at all. Not in the government per se, not in the ruling elite per se. There are some people in the House of Lords who have supported me. There are people in the lower house of Parliament who support me, but they're few and far between, and they're all dummying up, and they're all basically towing the party line of an England that is in the descent, an England that if this was 1939, they should be getting out their German-English dictionaries. They may as well get out their English-Arabic dictionaries.
Michael, what would happen if let's say I bought myself and I bought you a ticket to go to London. You and I can go to one of those lousy restaurants in London. And I say, Michael, you know what? Let me treat you to a horrible English dinner. Let's fly on a British Airways flight to London. We land in London. What would they do to you?
Heathrow and turned away. I mean, people have told me to do it, but I'm way past stunts. I don't need a stunt. I need that government to remove my name and apologize to me. But let's forget the English government. I'm an American citizen. Why has this government not taken up my cause? Well, we know that they're far left radicals. I wouldn't expect Hillary to do it, nor Obama. But where's the conservatives in this country? Why has Jim DeMint been so silent? I've had him on the show. How come he hasn't written one letter on my behalf? There's only one congressman who did so. One. John Culberson of Texas tried to intervene. Got nowhere. One. But what if 10 senators did? What if members of the Senate, whatever committee that has any interaction with England did it? Then we'd get some results, wouldn't we? But they won't do it. Why? Because they could care less about the ordinary American no matter what happens to them. The fact is they better wake up real fast, because what just happened in October, Jeff, is only the beginning of what's coming in this country. 70 Democrats were thrown out on their red behinds, and this has produced almost no change in this country. Take a look at what the Republicans are doing to us right now. Business as usual. Pork barrel as usual. Earmarks as usual. They're feasting in the mud. They feel they're immune. They think the people have nowhere to go. Little do they know that the people have somewhere else to go, and they will throw them out. The next election will be a devastation for the Republican Party. You can mark that one down. The next election will be a wholesale slaughter. Every Republican who's playing this game will be thrown out in their behind. Complete unknowns are going to run against them and win.
Cool. When you bring these Republicans on your show and you interview them, do you ever ask them on the air point blank, hey, look, buddy, I'm giving you airtime, 10 million people,
I never do a quid pro quo. I never try to bargain with them. I don't know. There's a part of me that's sort of embarrassed by that, truthfully. And I figure, well, you know, they kind of should do it on their own, but I guess I should demand it.
I mean, that's what I would do. I'd just put them on the spot. I would just say, hey, look, where do you stand on me being banned? Show me your true conservative credentials. Where's your guts? Where are you going to stand up for freedom of speech? I'm an American citizen. I've been blackballed in Britain. They've put a target on my back. Are you going to stand up for freedom, yes or no?
What can I say, Jeff? I mean, I'm not here to complain or to cry about it. I'm just here to say, really, thank you for what you said. I thought that your discourse, where you began and where you end and how you laid it out of what is actually going on in England, and the nature of the Muslim immigrant in England and what they are doing to that society, how even the government itself knows what they're doing to the society, and how they used me as a fall guy, I thought that was a very brilliant Clarence Darrow-type defense. I've asked my guys up there, Doug, to send me a tape, a CD. I'm going to send it to my attorneys. Maybe they'll play it on the floor of the House of Parliament, Jeff. It'll be you giving the speech, not me.
Thank you so much. Michael, look, since I have you on, I got to ask you this question, all right? It's something I've always wanted to ask you, and I know many of your audience wants to get this answer from you as well.
Right.
Standing at the point in your life that you are now, immensely successful, you just had a huge bestseller, you're writing a couple more spy thrillers, you've revolutionized talk radio, you've been banned in Britain, you fought almost every battle there is to fight. Do you believe Western civilization is doomed? Do you truly believe that Europe, England, and eventually America are going to go into the dustbin of history? Or do you think there's hope for the future?
Wow. Well, you're putting a crystal ball in front of my eyes and say, read into it. My statement, which is rather comedic but very serious, is the only one I can give you. Only the soccer thugs can save England. The bold peasantry that Oliver Goldsmith wrote about in the 1700s are, in fact, the soccer thugs of today. They are the descendants of the men who tilled the fields and forged the iron. Not the vermin called the elites. The vermin called the elites have capitulated and are the very same people who capitulated to Nazi Germany in 1939. Unless there is a revolution in England, England is finished. It's the same in every other European country. This is a repeat of history, as you well know. There have been battles in the past when Muslims tried to take over Europe, and it was only when the Knights turned them back at cities like Poitiers in France that the Muslim invasion was stopped. But this time it's a different kind of Muslim invasion. This time it's an economic and social invasion using the Trojan horse of liberalism to completely parasitize and paralyze the societies that they've invaded without virtually firing a shot. By going on welfare, by not working, by going to the universities and turning them into, in essence, fronts of radical Islam, what do they need to fire a shot for? When you have a liberalism which is pacifist and fundamentally incapable of defending itself, why do they need a war when they're conducting it with the enemy's own laws of liberalism? And that brings us right back to America. Is it much different here? It isn't different here except by numbers. And so we tried it with the Tea Parties. We tried it with the throwing the 70 Democrats out, and look what we have. We have Mitch the Gobbler McConnell. We have John the Crybaby Boehner. And we have the same slash and burn spending that we had before the 70 got thrown out. So what message does that send to the people who know what's going on, Jeff?
And Michael, do you...
That's another story. There needs to be a charismatic leader who is not a racist. We need a patriot. We need a nationalist who is not a racist. Does he exist? Does she exist? It's possible. I just don't know who it might be. We're all waiting for that charismatic leader to arise and lead this country out of the abyss. Whether or not that individual exists or can exist in this drugged-up, psychopathic nation that we're living in is another story. And I have to leave that up to fate and God. I don't have an answer.
Would you run for office?
Never.
Would you be that leader?
No, I can't be the leader. It's impossible. It's impossible. I don't have the nature to be a leader. I hate to put it in biblical terms, but remember when God went to Moses and said, you're going to lead your people out of the desert, remember? And Moses said, wait a minute, don't pick on me. I have an impediment. I have a speech impediment. In essence, I have a bad back. What are you picking on me for? Pick Charlton Heston. And God said, no, I'm picking you because you have a speech impediment. I'm picking you because you are imperfect. I'm picking you because you're not central casting. Right? But that was then, and this is now. And the forces of oppression, and I mean the oppression of the free spirit, have never been greater than they are today in America. Never have they ever been to this extent, whether it be drugs or propaganda or the media, you name it. The pressures against the true individual have never been greater than they are today. And on that pleasant note, Mr. Kuhner. I will let you go because I wanted to just say thank you. It's gone on too long. I really didn't mean to really step on it. There's a rule in radio. You have someone filling in, leave them alone, let them do it.
Michael, thank you. My buddy, you've paid me the highest compliment, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, my friend. God bless you, Michael.
For taking my cause. Thanks, Jeff Kuhner.
Take care. My friends, we'll be right back after this break here on the Savage Nation.
Savage. For all things news and talk radio, visit TRNCentral.com.